In this portfolio update, we're gonna rock your socks because we successfully played GameStonk. No, I'm just kidding. However, while the world was so focused on GameStop and some of the other ones, we found some stocks that were heavily ignored that had us going,
wow! That's a low price!
Before I tell you about our amazing finds, I first need to give you money. And the only thing I ask in return is for you to like that smash button for the YouTube algorithm. So that way it reaches more people who will compound the liking of the smash button. On this channel, we show people why we shouldn't use the rates of returns on these stock apps, and M1 Finance is our next target. Also, for the stock journey that we do publicly, we use Robinhood. And although it was the biggest one at the time when we started, its reputation has been dropping off a cliff, as luck would have it. So if you leave your M1 Finance referral link in the comments section below, we'll randomly select someone's link to apply with, making you the referral bonus. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay tuned because we've had some pretty creative ways to announce winners of giveaways like this in the past, such as catching a piece of paper mid-lachey and allowing my cat to decide who wins. And don't be intimidated if you see a lot of referral links. Definitely still put yours because the more referral links we get, the more creative an idea we have to come up with to announce a winner. Our hope is that we'll like M1 Finance a lot and end up switching our stock journey to M1 Finance so that way none of Robinhood's poor reputation rubs off on us by association. Otherwise, if we don't like the app, we'll just transfer to a different brokerage and still use the referral link to debunk the rate of return on M1 Finance's platform. Well, that's in the future. I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's go back real quick. Let me break the fourth wall right here and go back. I hope Warren Buffett can forgive me for what I did in January.
I don't think most people are in a position to pick single stocks. A few maybe, but on balance, I think people are much better off buying a cross-section of America and just forgetting about it.
I ended up selling the VOO cash position so that way I can purchase more Ally stock after they announced the share buybacks, dividends, and insider buys that we talked about in our previous video. Admittedly, this has been my worst performing investment so far, having bought so high at the top that Yahoo Finance didn't even register the $41.99 that I bought it at, which just goes to show how unreliable charts like these can be, even on other websites. Looks like Warren Buffett got the last laugh here. Nevertheless, I don't really care about the small short-term fluctuations in the stock. I like to remain focused on the long-term prospect that I know Ally Bank has. Which, by the way, they've announced 7 more insider buys since we last produced that video, for a total of 10 insider buys between 9 different insiders. Wow. Now we're up to the 23rd of the month, where every 23rd we put in $1,000 cash. Except I had to fudge the numbers a little bit this month. And that's because this is the first 23rd we've had that fell on a Saturday. Now, realistically, we don't have to do what I'm about to say, but I did it anyway because it's going to be conservative and make matters harder for me to outperform. Instead of saying I could have put $1,000 into the S&P 500, which is our benchmark, on the 23rd, I figured that wasn't really realistic because you can't buy anything on Saturday. So I moved it to the 25th, which is Monday, just for the benchmark. Again, this is just going to make things harder on myself, and it's just this kind of detail that nobody would ever have to do, but I'm going to do it because I feel like it's more conservative. Now, what did we do with the $1,000 this month? Cash. I know I said I wasn't going to keep a cash position in cash, but I decided against it for a couple of reasons, and it turned out to be an amazing choice because the market took a slight move downwards when GameStop and other Robinhood securities were taking the headlines by storm. This gave us the opportunity to put $1,000 into different things that I felt were ignored. First, we took $300 and put more into Ally stock, maybe also to erase some of the mistake I've made. Just kidding, that's not how it works. And then we took $300 more and put it into a new security, Micron Technologies, which was simply a shameless clone. What did we do with the other $400? We put it into some risky cash. We laugh, but that's true. Cash is risky. To help visualize what our portfolio looks like now, we put together this pie chart, which should be easier to see. So how did all of this affect our performance? Well, as of January 25th, we were still outperforming the S&P 500 index, which is cool, but one, it's over a short time period, so we don't know whether it's luck or skill. And two, it's not the point of the stock journey, which is to teach people how to calculate and communicate performances. which is why we're super excited to announce we've had a breakthrough last month with our Excel sheet that we use to teach people how to get their rate of return. Instead of looking like this previously daunting looking spreadsheet, it now looks like this, which is so much easier to see. So the percentages we gave you as our return are current as of January 25th. To show you how easy it is to update the spreadsheet now so you can get your rate of return, we're going to update our return based on what's current as of February 6, 2021, which is today. So I go into Robinhood and you can see our ending balance is $6,027.26. If I go to the Excel sheet, I'll find the ending balance and I'll change it. So instead of this hoop-a-joop of numbers, I'm going to change it to $6,027.26. And then I want to adjust it so that way we don't account for the free stocks. And that was $39.65. I calculated that ahead of time. Then we have to also change the date because it's no longer January 1st and change it to what's today, February 6th, 2021. If we had any transactions between the 23rd and now, we would include it at the bottom and then make sure that this annualized percentage here, that formula, includes the XIR amount and XIR date for the transaction history section. But we didn't have any, which means this periodic rate that we see here, 37.06%, is our return. And then if we annualize it, we'll see that we have a 131.6%. And this is perfect for a pre-tax return. Pre-tax is great, but what if you wanted to look at after-tax? This is where it gets really tricky and it's kind of hard for me to show you because everyone's tax situation is different. But if we go to the cost basis tab, you can see my entire transaction history and current portfolio that I get from the trade confirmations. I can't update this live for you because it would just be super embarrassing to watch me kind of type it away, but I will update it in a second. I just want you to see that I put in when the date was purchased, what if it were sold today, the shares, the cost per share, any dividend sections that we need to get for like taxes, and so on until we get these final two numbers here, here and here, which don't account for the free stocks. We'll take that information and put it in the taxes. Again, I'm not going huge into the minutia right now because you kind of have to see how it works for yourself and you have to understand taxes. But I take that number and I plug it into the short-term capital gains and the long-term capital gains. I have a sum formula and I go through my tax brackets to finally get this number right here. So I'm going to update that information real quick and you can see what a finished product would look like. Okay, so now this is what the spreadsheet looks like with the updated information. You can see I have 2 lines for Ally and 1 for Micron. And that's because even though I put $300 into Ally, it doesn't always get executed that way. Sometimes it breaks it up. So as you can see, if we go over here, the Micron had 3.9 shares for $76.75. Ally had 8 shares here and 0.003 shares here, both for $37.10, which you could even group those together, but sometimes the prices are different. But you get a total of $300 at the very end for each of them. And yep, so everything lines up. At the very bottom, you can see that our total here is $656.55, which if I go into the taxes sheet here, you can see I included here for short-term capital gains because we don't even have long-term capital gains yet. That's how fresh we are. But our formula runs and we get a total tax consideration of $154.96 in that block right there. And what that says, if we had to sell everything and pay taxes today, we would need to pay $154.96 roughly. So we'll take that information and plug it into our after-tax basis. All we have to do here is exactly what we did for the pre-tax, except that amount is going to be the pre-tax amount minus the taxes you would have to pay, which sounds kind of confusing, but I have full confidence that all the information is there. If you need to rewind or slow things down, it's right there for you. But now, what about benchmarking? We're going to go into that now. And I apologize that the taxes portion is pretty complicated. I don't think there's any way really around it. And the benchmarking is no different. However, if you wanted to challenge yourself and figure it out, everything should be here for you to see how it works. So this raw data is information I pull from Yahoo Finance, which I have in the notes here. You type in SP500TR and you'll get S&P 500 total return. You go to the historical data and you need the date and the adjusted close. and you throw it all the way at the bottom. So I'm scrolling down here, and you can see now I have it updated for February 6th. The part to the right is going to update automatically for you. That's why it's in color. And then you'll see simulated adjustments. That's where I was saying on the 23rd of every month I put in $1,000, but I want to make it harder on myself. So I made the last contribution January 25th because I wanted to simulate me putting the money in on a Monday. Again, to be conservative, and it's just a manic thing that I do. To the right of that, we have date, adjusted close, simulated holdings, and money weighted return balance. You have to scroll all the way to the bottom. Make sure that we're current on the dates. You'll have to drag the formula down. And then you have to do the goal seek function to make sure that the money weighted balance here equals the simulated holdings here. And you do that by changing this daily percentage. So you can use goal seek, or you can just manually change this and do guess and check. Really hard to explain, I'm sorry. It's one of those things you kind of have to work one-on-one, but I believe that there's someone out there who's going to appreciate this, so I'll do it. Anyway, if the daily percentage is 0.1177%, which it is to make the balances correct, then our periodic rate is 13% and our annualized gain is 53%, which means we're doubling the S&P 500, which is perfect. And then I have some other tabs that aren't absolutely necessary. You could do like this history kind of function. I don't know if this is going to be important or not, or even if it's got any value, but I decided might as well put it in case you need it, and then we can delete it later, right? So this is just extra. And then asset allocation is everything that I have to show you that I'm not leveraging, or I'm not making any of the numbers up, or there's no financial engineering here. So that's it for this video, and I hope you found some content helpful. I hope you enjoyed the update. If you wouldn't mind liking this match button by stalking our subscriber count and Liberty Bell in the notification icon, it helps the channel out a huge amount. Thanks for watching, and until next time.